When we have an equation that is quadratic, we're going to discuss and define the value of the discriminant. As a reminder, a quadratic equation can be solved for x by using the quadratic formula. So we can figure out the x value that makes a true statement in the quadratic equation by plugging it into this quadratic formula. The discriminant is defined to be the quantity b squared minus 4ac, the value that appears underneath the radical in the quadratic formula. So the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. Now, since it's part of the quadratic equation or the quadratic formula that gives us the solutions to this quadratic equation, we can say a couple of things about the discriminant here. If that discriminant quantity turns out to be a positive number, well then we have a positive number underneath the radical here, and if we have a positive number underneath the radical, then we're going to have real solutions to that quadratic equation. But since we have a plus and a minus out here, we're actually going to get two real solutions when the discriminant value, or the thing that's underneath the radical, is positive. But if that thing is that's underneath the radical, the discriminant, is a negative quantity, then we're taking the square root of something that's negative. Now that is going to kick us into the imaginary solutions land, but for right now, we'll just say that there are no real solutions. In a later section, we'll talk about the fact that those solutions are complex or imaginary, but for right now, we'll just say there's no real solutions. Now, if the discriminant turns out to be exactly equal to 0, then we're looking at the square root of 0 underneath, or 0's underneath the radical in the quadratic formula here, and then in that case our solutions would end up being negative b plus or minus the square root of 0 here, which would just be negative b plus 0 minus 0. We would end up just having one real solution. This is a real number, right? The square root of 0 is 0. That's a real number. And so we would end up just having one real solution, not two solutions, because plus 0 and minus 0 is the same thing. So if we just look at the value of this discriminant, we can tell what kind of solutions we're going to have. If it's a positive number under the radical, we're going to have real solutions, two of them. If it's a negative number under the radical, we're going to have complex solutions or no real solutions. And if it's 0 under the radical, we'll just have one real solution.